Part 1 took me 2 hours to film. These are so hard. How do people do this? Hello everyone, my name is Yvonne and welcome to my channel. This video is part 2 of me sharing things that I learned onboarding and working completely remotely in my first job out of college. The 10 learnings that I had fall into 3 categories. 1 is mental and physical preparation, 2 is communication through the internet, and 3 is work from home setup and gear. I shared about things that I learned in the first category last week, and I will link the video in the description box below. Today, I will share with you the 5 learnings that I have in the second 2 categories, communications through the internet and work from home setup and gear. The first thing about communication, in my opinion, for all of us newbies out there is to over-communicate. Have over-communication as your default setting, and if your manager or your team feels like you're communicating too much, they will tell you to dial it down. Communication is kind of this thing that everybody stresses about no matter what you do, so I think it's very important for us to get better at communicating clearly and efficiently as a new person to the company, especially when we're physically alone and we can't just tap anyone on their shoulder and be like, hey, could you take a look at this? I need help. I think we've all experienced this. You're texting someone and emailing someone. Somehow some context or information during that exchange gets lost. You're completely clueless of why that person thinks you said X, and the other person is very confused why you think that they would understand Y. This can also often happen when you're working through chats, emails, and even video calls. So what I found to be extremely helpful for me to make sure that I understand the information 100% is that now I try to practice this summarizing and repeat the information in my own words to the team at the end of a call or at the end of our conversation in the chat. This exercise not only forces me to really think about what I just learned and what I was assigned to, but also, most importantly, if I misunderstood anything, my team can correct me on the spot and prevent me from doing something that is wrong and produce something that has 0 value to the project. Give updates. Give updates on your progress or your task at least once a day. As scary as we think starting a new job remotely is, our managers are probably also experiencing this for the first time. And it's really difficult for the team and the manager to see your progress and what you're doing when they can't see it. So let's spare them of the pain of not knowing where we're at and if we're struggling or if we're succeeding. Just update them often. And a bonus note is to ask the person you're working with if they have time to hop on a quick call if you need to discuss something that's not vanilla plain simple. Oftentimes when we're trying to discuss something slightly more complicated, it takes maybe 10 to 30 minutes when you're chatting back and forth, trying to understand what they're saying. And if you hop on a call, it could be something that can be solved in 5 minutes. Just chat them. Hey, do you have 5 minutes to hop on this call and we can discuss XYZ? And most of the time, people will be like, hey, yeah, let's meet. And I find this to be way more efficient and effective when exchanging ideas and to make sure everyone's on the same page. The second learning that I have about communication is to ask questions. Don't be afraid of dumb questions, just ask them. One mistake I made during the first few months is that whenever I get assigned a new task, I just can't wait to jump into it without taking a step back to fully process the information to make sure that I 100% understand. Because I want to prove to the team that I'm efficient, I can do things, I'm smart. Therefore, I don't want to waste my time asking dumb questions. However, when you and I, when we leave college, doesn't matter how much we learned in college and how hard we worked, the real life applications of things are always different. And when we enter the workforce, we're kind of expected to know nothing. So let's just ask questions. It's fine that you don't know stuff. It's probably weird if you know everything, because then you're probably in the wrong position. It's always better to ask clarifying questions when you're learning new things or assigned to new tasks. If you don't truly understand what the task is, what is expected of you, what is the objective of doing this task, then you can't really produce the best results. I've learned this the hard way, and now I try to make sure that I understand the expectation in the following aspects. Number 1, format. Should it be in Microsoft Suite or Google Suite? Should it be double-spaced or single-spaced? Should it be in one tab or multiple tab? Number 2, quality. Should this be a rough draft or a final draft that is client ready? Number 3, timeline. When is this expected to be done? Is it in an hour? Is it end of day? Or is it next week? It's better for us and the team that we spend a little extra time to make sure we're 100% understanding what the task is, understanding what the expectation is, so we can work more efficiently as a team. And on to the last category of learning, and that is home office setup and gear. The number one thing that I learned in this category is to have a designated workstation. One downside of working from home for a lot of my friends and I is the blurred line between work and life. It's really easy to just work whenever. Now we're at home. You can just pop open your laptop and here you are. Voila, you're working. Having a physically separated space has helped my brain a lot to keep my work at work. We all know rent is expensive, and I'm literally working from my parents' basement, living the dream. Like many of us, we don't have the luxury of having a separated room for office. So what I do is I set up a desk in the corner of my basement living room, and I have my little chair, my monitor, my laptop, keyboard and everything, and I only do work at that desk. Psychologically, the environment and the way it feels make us behave in different ways. So having the office area really makes me feel like I'm in the office, and that mindset helps me get into what I need to do for my everyday work. And the second thing I want to share with you is just things that you can get and do to make working from home a little bit more comfortable. At this point, we're like a whole year into the pandemic. I believe most companies have some sort of budget set aside to supply employees with work from home gear. Just ask your HR if you need anything. I was actually planning on getting my own monitor, and I was doing all my research on Amazon, watching YouTube videos, and then I learned from my teammate that I can just ask HR to give me one. So I emailed HR and got a great monitor and saved myself $400. Most IT hardware such as monitors, keyboards, and mouses you can probably get from your company. And if they're not sending you one, you can probably reimburse them. So ask HR or your manager if you're deciding to purchase anything, just to make sure that you're not spending unnecessary money. So we just talked about hardware you would need and how to get them to be able to work. And now let's talk about how to work more comfortably. Invest in an ergonomic setup and your body will love you. Or at least your body wouldn't hate you. So here's what I learned about ergonomic setup from watching tons of YouTube videos. First of all, your eyes should be on the same level as your monitor. Your arms and legs should create 90-degree angles, so keep that in mind when setting up your desk. I don't have a proper laptop stand, so I just prop it up with a couple of books. Because I'm a short Asian woman, no desk and no chair fits my height. I have one of those footrest pillows to help my leg get into the 90-degree angle. This setup has really reduced the pain and ache that I experience at the end of a workday. And last but not least, save the boxes for electronics. I've traveled between my house and my grandparents' house in the past 11 months just to take advantage of working from home and spend more time with family, and the box that the monitor came in proved to be helpful many a times. So if you also want to take advantage of being able to work anywhere you want and have destination work days, then saving the box will really save you some headaches because your electronics can perfectly fit in them with some good protection. And if we go back to the office, I'll move to the West Coast and I'll again rely on the box that my monitor came in, because we all know electronics break mysteriously during shipping. So using the box that it came in with proper protection to the specific electronic device is probably better than us, going to Home Depot the day before moving and scramble to find some generic box that would just fit. There you have it. Here are 5 tips that I have in terms of communications through the internet and work from home setup. And in combination with last week's video, we have a total of 10 tips that I learned while I was working remotely and onboarding remotely to my first job out of college. Hopefully these things can provide you with some guidelines and help you prepare better for your first internship or job remotely. Please hit the thumbs up button if you found this video interesting or helpful, and comment down below if you resonated with one of the tips or you have other advice you'd like to share with the people. And don't forget to have fun at your job. Good luck. Bye.
And then there's the outtake with her dad coming in wearing his pajama pants because it's COVID time.